It's late. There's so much time left. All right, ready? What up? This is Myron, and you are listening to the Rye Bread and Mustard. Maybe you're watching it. The Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast at Down on the Docks, on the other side of the tracks, 5-star dive bar. Like I said about your Mariners, that we already want to thank you for liking and subscribing. If you haven't done that yet, you're not helping us enough. All right. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. Just click on that. It really helps out the show. Also, little plug, a couple plugs right out of the way. If you like the rye bread gear, listen, you want that street cred for rocking the rye bread. Look, I got one on right now. If you're checking this out on YouTube, hit up at simply.cora. That's at simply.cora. Also, have a little partnership or a collab. Listen, I'm trying to tell you, we got a promo code with In the Clutch apparel. That's intheclutch.com. Get all kinds of MLB, NHL, WNBA, NBA. I think they got NASCAR. Did I say NFL, MLB? All the sports, all of them. Even I bet they got cricket on there. Anyways, go on there. It's licensed. This money goes to the players, not to fanatics. Go there, check them out, intheclutch.com. Listen, I'm going to save you some money. You put in the promo code Rye Bread and Mustard, all one word. You're going to save yourself some money. All right, we are down here at spring training. This time for real. There's no hiccups on the travel plans. I'm here actually in Scottsdale. I got CJ with me. He's back on the show. We're here in Scottsdale at your lovely home. What's going on, CJ?
Man, how's everybody doing? It's great. Thanks for having me. Glad you were able to make it out. Get some games in.
Yep, barely made it out here. Immediately got here and was in massive discomfort. I don't know about anybody else that's down at spring training, but the allergies seem to be going around. There's a lot of sniffles. My eyes were burning today at the backfield. We saw a lot of players.
Yeah, definitely. I got Brian Wu's autograph, and he was sniffling. He kind of sounded like you yesterday.
So basically, the story is I got all the Mariners sick. So if anybody to blame Myron from Rye Bread and Mustard. But look, it's been interesting to be down here, just going off of all the feelings that I've been feeling and a lot of people have been feeling about the Mariners here this offseason. You get down here, you start to fall in love with what's going on. You're going, there's no way this team is going to get beat. You see all the runs that were being scored all last week. You got Kevin Seitzer in here and Edgar Martinez. You got, Dan Wilson running the show. You're seeing all the runs they're getting. I show up to town. It's back to the old business. Not a lot of hitting from the big guys here in the last couple of days, but that doesn't really matter, does it? Because neither does the runs that they were scoring earlier on. So what have you taken in so far this spring, CJ?
So I've been to 3 games. The first game I went to, they scored a run with no hits, so that was pretty awesome. But I think for me is seeing all of the young kids that we've been talking about, the farm system, with number 1 farm system in the majors, and so seeing those prospects and seeing them live and in person is awesome. We saw Julio today, seeing all the pitchers, seeing Cal. I mean, it's just it's getting back to that time of year, getting excited for the start of the season. And, I love spring training, just kind of kick off. We're undefeated right now, right? So there's no disappointment and there's all positive vibes only right now, right? So.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about just being around the ballpark, it's fun. You see a lot of familiar faces. We got to do a quick shout out right now. I'll show you maybe my favorite guy that we see every year. I could be feeling any which way about anything going on in my life. You walk in the stadium, you sit down in your seats, and you see this guy. Well, you'll see this on the YouTube, but you can hear it right now on the podcast. Churros. The Churro guy. What a cool dude. Also, I don't want to get people too excited. He's going to be here on the podcast, not tonight, or today, whenever you're listening to this, but he's going to be coming on soon. It's interesting talking to him, and then you exchange social media, whatever pages with him, and we go and we look up this guy, and what do we find?
Wrestling. Big wrestling fan.
Big wrestling fan. So if you follow the show, we love our wrestling here on the podcast. But no, the churro guy he's been a fixture around there for how many years?
As long as I can remember. I mean, 5, 6, 7 years probably. Then I think last year I got a picture with him, and then you connected with him, and so I kind of built that rapport with him. So excited to see him come on the podcast here soon.
Yeah, he came up and he was like, dude, I went to Seattle last year, and I went to the game, and then I went to some bars across the street, and I saw your guys' banner. And so I've asked him to come on the pod before, but now that he's seen a banner, he thinks we're legit. Not when I was with Odyssey or do anything else, but now that he's seen a banner, he thinks we're legit. So that's going to be fun. Another takeaway or something that I've gotten to see in person that I've really liked is this new ABS system, right? Automatic ball or strike. Yep. They're using it this year in spring training. If you're new to what's going on in spring training, it's pretty interesting. I thought it was, here's another thing that's going to stop the game. It's like instant replay. It is fast.
Yeah, it's super fast. I've seen it a couple of times up in Everett at the Aqua Sox games because they have it in the minors, and so this is the first year they're putting in spring training and seeing it in the majors. But yeah, it's super quick. And I think the funniest thing is, I mean, if you're an umpire, I mean, you're pretty much in front of everyone getting called out for what you're making your calls, and you're getting judged immediately by either the catcher, the pitcher, or the hitter can make that call. And I think you had a pretty funny experience with that today, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's been my experience in the last couple of days. The players have been wrong. The players have been getting humbled. And you'd think just with all the bitching that we all do and people that want to go to the robo umps do, that you think we're going to be correcting these umpires all the time. And so far, at least when I've been there, it's gone the other way. I know coming into this, I think Randy Rosarena, before I got here, was 0 for 2 on it. And then, if you're watching or not, or you're just listening, you basically after a ball is called, if you're a batter, you tap the top of your helmet. I think it's the same for the catchers.
Yep.
And they've all been wrong, except for maybe the last one. I think the one that we have right here that will show on video. Let's check this one out. I think this is one that actually they got right. I think this is the only one that I saw that they got right. So let's check this out. So as you can see right there, the umpire's embarrassed. You literally embarrassed him. But this entire game up to that point, like I was mentioning, the players were wrong. So the umpire will turn around immediately and go, the call is confirmed. Like he'll literally turn around with some sass and do it. Like he's literally, the call is confirmed, bitch. Yep. And he you should just see this umpire every single time. He was so fucking happy. He just wanted to rub it in. So when you're hearing that crowd hoot and holler about him being wrong, it was after he had see, I told you it was a motherfucking strike, so that was interesting. I'm now a fan of it. I think if you asked me, I know you're not, but if you did, I think it's something that they should bring into the game because it's really fast. And I think, you should only get a couple of them, just like challenges. If you get it wrong, it's done. And there is a strategy of like when you're going to use it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. It's going to make the umps be better at what they're doing, right? And so I think also it's funny because like us as fans, we're seeing the thing like, oh, that should have been a strike. But then if they're not actually making the call to have the replay, then it probably wasn't a strike. And so we were in the wrong as well. I
think this is not as, I guess it is a drastic change because it takes out the human element somewhat, so it's not 100%, but the rest of it'd still make it what 98%, 99% still human because you'd only be able to do this what less than a handful of times between the two teams in one game out of how many pitches. I don't know. The analytic nerds can add that up. I'm telling you, I think it's about 99% still human using this.
Yeah, I mean, I can see purists not like it, right? Because I think we're like a step away from robots just taking the umps out of the game and behind the plate and just having robot balls and strikes. But I like it. I mean, I hope they put it in play, but we'll see. I mean, I know like the pitch clock and the timing, like that's really helped the games, sped up the games. They've had to change like the beer cells, past when they normally did it. And so I don't know. I think it's a good change, and I hope they put it into play.
Yeah. Another fun thing down here before we get all the other stuff, but I want to talk about our experience is the backfield. The backfield practices, if you're headed down to spring training, that's where it's at. I think that's more interesting than the games. The games are, cool until about the third inning. The players that you really want to see, the guys that are on the team, if you want to see the guys that are on the squad, you got to get there and make sure you don't miss the first like 3 or 4 innings. They're going to get 2 at bats and then they're gone. You go later in spring training, maybe you'll see them play or get 3 at bats, but they're gone pretty quick. But the practices, you're up close around everybody, all the players, all the coaches. And even in this scenario, look, I'm going to show this again. Sorry for the people listening. That's why you got to check out the YouTube. That's why you need to check out the YouTube. Here's somebody we got nice and close to. I'm talking about Jerry and Justin. So if you're watching this video, we're about a foot from Jerry and Justin. And let me just, they're watching this at bat. It was interesting to be that close to them and just having all the feelings and having to, mind your manners and not say anything. I mean, I felt like if I could say something to Jerry or especially Justin after hearing his interview about that the philosophy isn't changing and they're not going old school, they're still going analytics. I just wanted to lean over and go, that's bullshit.
Close the laptop.
Yeah, because I heard what Dan Wilson had to say. He was very polite. About what Justin had to say on 710, where he said, no, it's not going to go back to old school. I don't see the philosophy changing. I didn't see a lot of the philosophy changing basically or direction changing last year in those last 34 games with Dan Wilson. It's like, yeah, you did. And the Mariners are just being more aggressive and Dan Wilson keeps preaching aggressive. And I heard Dan's answer to when he asked what he thought about that. And he just politely kind of danced around it. It was like, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to do our thing. We're not going to be completely reckless, but yeah, we're going to keep the defense on their toes. We're going to push the envelope, so to speak. And that's always refreshing to hear. What would you say? What did you have to hold yourself to not say?
Just spend the money, like, why are you not spending the money? It's hard. It's hard to come to words on what you want to say to that. Cause it's so frustrating, right? Like we had no off season essentially, right? There's no, it's frustrating. I think I would just try to communicate my frustration some way. Baseball at 'em.
Yeah, my question was this when I was around them was, where were these guys right here? These dudes. Yeah. And if you're looking at our thumbnail, I actually have this up on the screen. These 2 dudes were walking around the stadium. Let me describe this for the listeners on YouTube. They had what looks like 3 panels of white cardboard, taped together and in huge letters, 1 owner away from the playoffs. And these guys just went around the stadium at both games we're at. I mean, and when you're at spring training, the general managers, the front office people, the announcers, the press, everything it's like them just being right there in the 100 level. Yeah. So like, there's no way they didn't see this sign, but that would have been awesome if they were out there in the practice. Maybe they have been out there at the practice. Yeah. I don't know how many autographs they'll get with that. I didn't see any autographs on it.
I've seen a lot of pictures of that sign, those 2 guys throughout social media. So I think a lot of people have seen it. A lot of people are posting it online. So
yeah, I think between I think both games, I'd have to give it to those. Got to be the rye bread fans of the game for both games. But it was interesting because we saw them when they were playing the Oakland A's. So you had two fan bases that were, for the most part, well, the A's for sure, and the Mariners fan disgruntled with their organizations, and I think that might have been the lowest attended spring training game I've seen in years down here. I don't know how you felt about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, midday on a Wednesday, and it's Oakland, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't many people there at all. And I mean, yeah, I mean, the disgruntled fans with the ownership. I mean, I couldn't imagine being an athletics fan, right? That's tough pill to swallow where they are right now.
Yeah, I was watching the A's fans kind of look at these guys like, are they talking about us? Or are they talking? Oh no, they're Mariner fans. But yeah, you had two fan groups that really want their ownership to sell the team, so that was interesting. We ran into Rick Riz.
Yeah,
that was cool. Rick Riz was walking around with an entourage of about 30,
25, 30 people.
30 people. So that's how the Riz is rocking. But where it was some sort of tour, he's doing tours or something like that. But it was
pretty leader of that group.
Yes. But anyways, we'll take a quick little break. We'll get back talking a little bit of Mariner business. We got Cal Raleigh with alluding to that he really does want to get a contract and stay here pretty soon. We've also seen Rowdy Tellez. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Got our first look at him. We also saw Ben Williamson, a couple other pieces of Mariner business, and we'll get into all of that stuff after this quick break.
Get ready to play hardball in the Kingdom.
Take me to the ball game. I want to see the Ants. The Mariners are playing hardball. Did it again and again and again. Did it again.
Princess Tours, the vacation company, brings you the best show in baseball when the San Diego Chicken plays hardball with the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles tonight in the Kingdom.
The World Series, where a pitch is not just a pitch, it's a World Series pitch. Where a hit is not just a hit, it's a World Series hit. A win is not just a win, it's a World Series win. Now you've got a chance to win a trip to the 1984 World Series by entering Major League Baseball's Grand Slam sweepstakes at all Major League ballparks and participating retailers. Baseball fever, catch it.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
When you think about the Mariners, you have to think about the money. That's the only way you can think about the Mariners.
The biggest impact, if we make an impact, is going to come with the trade. That's just the truth.
But here's the thing. That's not right because you guys aren't the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, you guys You guys aren't the Marlins. You guys aren't Tampa. By the fan base and the money spent, and you know, you guys got 32 different jerseys. You guys got more colorways than like the Jordans, and people are buying the shit. You know, I've been there. I go to Seattle every year. You couldn't tell me that you guys have made the playoffs once in the new millennium. With the revenue sharing and the money that you're making on your own, you guys are in the top. So, yes, Yankee fan, rich kid, whatever you want to call it. To me, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be saying, all right, we're adding $30 million if there's a guy that fits that you like, and be like, fuck it.
You're absolutely right. Everything you said is correct.
So a big story that, or I would say a big interesting story that is a bit of good news. Cal Raleigh was on the flagship and asked basically about this contract situation, or it's not a contract situation, but what his plans are. You know, with free agent, is he going to test the free agency market when that time comes? Is that something that he owes to himself? Or what's the deal with him switching agents? What does that all mean? You know, we've all made our speculations here. And you know, that's always one of those popular things that people want to say, especially the cynical people. Whoops. Cynical people say, you know, that he's going to leave as soon as he can leave. And he basically said, what, CJ, that no, he he hopes he gets a contract. He wants to be a player that stays in one organization his entire career.
That's right. Yeah, he wants to stay with the Mariners for as long as he can. He'd like to be with one team for his entire career, which is great to hear. I think with changing agents and maybe he has a little bit more control over that and more say, but I hope he does stay with us.
Yeah, so do I. And I think, you know, he understands and seems to also have this good, you know, way of thinking about the responsibility or the honor it is of like, hey, this is what he is to this city. This is what he is to the organization. And I think we all get mixed up as fans when we hear him talk about 2 years ago when he was upset like we were, when he said what he looks over at the Rangers dugout and he goes, look what they've done and we haven't done anything. And a lot of people read that into, I'm getting the fuck out of here, when that just really isn't, I don't think, the case.
Yeah, no, I think he truly cares about the Mariners. I think the organization is, you know, he's happy with the organization. He's happy with the way that he's been treated. I think he likes all the guys. He likes the pitching staff. You know, obviously he wants to win. And so I think that's going to be probably a big telltale thing, right, this year, how the team does, how we do, how we perform. I think that will impact probably his decision, obviously, but I think he definitely cares about the organization and the team, and he wants to be here, and he loves Seattle, and he loves being around the fans, of course.
Yeah, and there's always this other storyline of, I know a couple of years ago, it's like, well, are they going to commit to him? But what about Harry Ford? How does he, like, how does he go into this equation? But to me, I feel like Harry Ford, and correct me if I'm wrong, and you know, I feel like his stock has went down a bit. And I don't feel like the Mariners are, I don't think that's a thing of like, let's see what's up with Harry Ford. Like, I feel like Cal Raleigh is like such a rare type of catcher. Look, he's got a platinum glove. We don't even need to talk about the gold gloves. Platinum glove, best defender in the entire league. He's a switch hitter, a power hitter. He catches the best pitching staff in all of baseball. And he's fucking clutch.
Right, yeah. I mean, huge clutch, right? Yeah, I think with Ford, I think maybe we hear more about him and his minor league and how he's progressing there. But I think, you know, like the peak of his value was probably around the World Baseball Classic, right? And then kind of stopped hearing about him since then. But maybe something will pop. I mean, obviously he's on our top prospects, and so we'll hear more about that as they talk about the number one farm system. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he pops somewhere in the minors, and maybe he'll get some time. But it just doesn't seem like we're hearing much about him right now currently.
Yeah, I'm in the boat of, and look, we can throw what I got to say here in a time capsule. I'm in the belief that that's a guy that you got to move, and you got to get something for him at some point.
Before it's too late, right? Yeah.
Yes, and before it's too late. We've had a lot of those it's too late guys that you know, we always want to focus on some of the big guys that we traded away. You know, you think of Adam Jones or, you know, players like that. And then you're like, yeah, but there's a lot of players that they just didn't pull the trigger on that people probably wanted way before that. You think about even a Jared Kelnick. I mean, once you had Julio and you've seen the trajectory he was on and what trajectory JK was on, right? You never get it going. Always kind of seem to have an issue. And it's like, what if they traded him 2 years ago instead of a year ago? You're probably getting a lot more than absolutely nothing and being part of a cash dump, wouldn't you think?
Bag of balls.
Yeah. A bag of balls. So another big thing that we do want to talk about, but we have to take a 30-second break to fix this camera. Let's talk about Randy Rosarena and his connection to Lazaro Montes.
Supercross this weekend in the Kingdom. The Coors Beer Supercross doubleheader. Get ready, Seattle, this Saturday night at 7:30 and Sunday afternoon at 2. The 1988 AMA Supercross Tour, Motorcycle Mania, on an incredible dirt battleground that treats man and machine the same way. With absolutely no respect. See the best. National champion Jeff Ward, former champion Ricky Johnson. Tickets at all Ticketmaster locations, including the Bond, Tower Records and Video, and participating Honda dealers. The Coors Beer Supercross.
I'm looking forward to that Supercross at the Kingdom. I don't know about you. I'd love to get my hands on a King beer and a King dog. Got to head on down to Tower Records for that and get those tickets, CJ.
Yeah.
So you were telling me something pretty cool before we went on here. Randy Rosas-Reina's relationship with Lazaro Montez.
Right. So I'm big on Montez, kind of big. This one, I heard about Julio, right? Like Montez is a huge guy, a big hitter. But in this off season, Randy and him met up and trained throughout the summer. Throughout the off season. And Randy was, through his interpreter, said that, he believes that he's going to be one of the best at the game very soon. If he continues on the right path, it's going to be in the majors really soon, and he could become a star if he continues that consistency that he's been doing. So that's pretty big, right? And so they have the connection. They're both Cuban, and so I would love to see his bat. I saw he's hit I think 1 home run so far this spring. We saw him in person. He's a monster.
Yeah,
it's just huge guy, and so that's the kind of bat that we need. I think his fielding is subpar, but that's fine. We just need a DH. Right?
It's in development. Let's just say his fielding is in development.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we were talking to our Modesto Nut insider, Chris Estrada, who did like everything down there for the Modesto Nuts, including the media stuff. That was the report he had. He was like, this dude's just got the crazy power, just like everybody's heard. Great hitter, probably going to be a DH. But I look at somebody that's that young and thinking about back to Julio. I know Julio was a way better fielder coming into this, but I just think about well, how's your body going to change, and what kind of developments are you going to make when you enter your early 20s, to also thinking about somebody that he's compared to Yordan Alvarez. They call him Baby Yordan. I mean, Yordan's a serviceable outfielder. Is he great? No. But if the guy's doing that much damage at the plate, kind of makes up for it. And listen, the Mariners always have a sign in the window, need help at DH, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And eventually outfield probably too, right? So I think he's projected to be called up in 2026, and Randy's in contract through 2026. So I think that's a good sign. They'll be connected through then. Maybe Randy gets extended, who knows? But then if we see Montez come up and then his growth over the next year and a half, I'm excited to see that and keep an eye on him. So I definitely keep a watch on him.
Absolutely. What else did we want to talk about here tonight before we run out of battery space and everything? We'll take a quick one. I'll see if I can find my cord. It's just been that kind of trip.
It's spring training.
It's been spring training. I forgot my some power cords. I forgot my belt.
You're wearing my belt.
I was wearing your belt today. So let's take another quick. I'm going to throw something nice on here. Oh, listen, we are the Dive Bar Podcast. Here's one of the weirder stories that I heard in a dive bar, and you guys can figure out if there's any truth to this. Do your Googling.
You know what's so fun about Dive Bar Podcast is there's also like a lot of people that come over and talk to you and tell you their stories. And there's a couple of ladies over here. I'd say they were in their 60s. They come over, they're asking what the hell we're doing and why we're in their dive bar. Says, what's this about? And I'm like, all right, it's the Mariners podcast. She goes, me and my ex-husband used to have season tickets back in the Kingdom. And I'm like, all right, that's nice. She goes, you want to hear a story? My ex-husband, caught Ken Griffey Jr.'s, and we got to fact check this. He says it was his 100th home run in Major League Baseball. That somebody puts a sticker on his ball. The Mariners wanted the ball, and I guess they're lawyers, so they're like, oh, no. That's not how it happens. They took it down to their law offices, and they kept it in a safe. But then the death threats started coming in.
Okay, so before we get to that, where did they catch it? In right center field in the bleachers above the big blue wall?
I didn't ask because she immediately went into the death threats. Went from the death threats to, anyways, we went down there, sorted that out, and we got a picture.
So the Mariners were sending death threats.
I don't know. I don't know who was sending the death threats, but she said they sorted it out.
So you got here at what time? About 6:30.
And this story was already lambasted into me by 6:32.
So they were feeling good.
Apparently.
So another player that has, I guess some interest, or I should say, spike some interest, is the signing of Rowdy Tellez. Is that how you say- Tellez. He was on the Pittsburgh Pirates. If you don't know about him, he's what, 6'4", 275. You can't miss him. He's wearing number 23, Ty France's number. Playing a little one bag. Our first impression of him in person was, wow, the guy really is 275, 6'4", and his first at bat that we seen him, he hit the ball.
432 yards, just smashed home run.
432 feet, bomb.
Feet. Yeah, sorry.
It looked like 432 yards off the bat. I will say that. And I mean, if you've not been to the Peoria Sports Complex, this non-alcoholic IPA has got me all tied up here. Yeah. The Peoria Sports Complex, he hit the ball at the top of the berm, almost to the curly fry stand.
Way back there. I mean, it's a pretty interesting story, right? Because he got DFA'd at the end of last season.
The last week of the last
season. The last week of the last season, he was 4 bats away from making a $200,000 bonus or something, because he had all these.
So basically one game.
Yeah, and he was, he had 3 really good months last year. So it's interesting, right? So I think sounds like he's a little streaky, but I mean, if he makes the team, it could be super interesting. But yeah, I mean, he's a big figure, big bat. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, we're getting a little clogged up at first base and DH, but see what happens. Kick the tires on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Mariners already have a left-handed option for first base, but they really don't have a lot of left-handed bats. It doesn't look like coming off the bench. Right. But like Luke Raleigh, not a strong defender, so you're not going to be putting him into the game for a defensive replacement. Kind of has that Mike Ford thing going on, right? Like with the bombs. You go and you look at his numbers. You go back to 2022. That was his best year, right?
Yeah. 32 homers.
35 home runs, but sandwiched around that are a couple of dozen and like Baker's dozens worth of home runs each season. But he's like a career average, 234 hitter or something like that.
34, 243.
So it's kind of like a lot of the same. I think the discussion has been amongst everybody is like, this is kind of like a just in case injury happens. He does have a minor league contract, so I think you still could retain him and go to Tacoma with him. I'm not sure if you can just say, no, I want to go elsewhere if you don't make the team. I think that's what I don't really understand minor league contracts. But that power is for real. You think about T-Mobile Park, I don't think that would be a problem if he connects.
Yeah. Especially heading out to right field.
Yeah. So that's another person I want to watch. We did get to see, like we said Montez. I mean, for real, that dude is huge. I mean, that dude is strong. We'll put some videos on social media. We got some good ones of him stretching, dancing to a little bit of Footloose.
I mean, all the big guys, right? Like the top 10 prospects are there, and you'll see him. Cole Young, Colt Emerson, Montez. I mean, Ty Pete's out there. So it's really cool to see everyone that you're hearing about, seeing them in person. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you get to see all the people they know that are coming to see them. So again, spring training's, the shit. I also got to see Ben Williamson or pay attention to him for the first time. And man, that guy does have a glove. We've seen him make some amazing plays. Apparently he's been hitting, but I haven't seen him hit. That's the Achilles heel on him, right?
He was hitting a little bit in the minors last year, so that's where he got his little bit of pop. And then, so I heard about him, was excited to see what he could do this spring. His glove was good at third base. He made a great play today, and so I think it's just more to grow on. So it's another potential option at third. I don't know if they're gonna, if he would make the big league going into opening day or not, but definitely something. Probably go to AAA, and then who knows, maybe a call up somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I think if he starts up there with the Mariners, something has went terribly awry with Polanco, or he's not ready. That's a guy that we got to see hit live today. That video that we had there of Jared Apoto, they were actually watching a pitcher and him. They were tracking everything that was going on, doing their little analytical game that hopefully Dan Wilson's like, okay, yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, right. Hit the ball hard down the right field line. So
yes.
Good to see.
Good connection. Another thing that's been talked about, and I think it's one of the things that's overanalyzed, and let's just talk about it. Who's going to be the opening day starter? A lot of people think it's Logan. I get it. There's new management in there. They can go in a different direction. For me, opening day starter doesn't really matter to me. It's who's your game one starter in the playoffs. That's what I like to talk about. But for shits and giggles, let's be like the rest of the people out here, just hypothetically. Who do you think right now is your front runner for opening day starter, CJ?
I mean, it has to be between Logan and Castillo. I would actually kind of like to switch it up and go with Logan.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's a dominant big guy. I think it's kind of his coming out party this year again. I don't know. I wouldn't, like you said, it doesn't really matter, but it could be interesting to see. That might piss off Castillo, but I'm in the camp. Let's have Logan kick us off.
Well, if you're saying pissed off Castillo, I think maybe. I don't think that might not piss him off as much as hearing that you're being shopped around. Yeah. That's what would have pissed me off all off season, not if I was one or two. But I could say I could see you doing it now just because you have a different different management. Dan Wilson doesn't have to be attached to all these things that Scott Service was.
And if it's an organizational thing, right? Like he's contract, we want to sign him to an extension, similar to Cal, right? But now you're opening day starter. We're committed to, because he was talked about in trade things, right? Like the Red Sox potential trade partner. Logan was in the discussion, so maybe this is a way to show the commitment to him as being the opening day starter. All right, just something to noodle on.
Yeah. So a little behind the scenes. I really need to find this power cord. So I'm going to take one question. Oh, well, we got a couple of them. Vladimir Perez says, "Sell the team." Yes, sell it. We also have, whatever happened to the Pike Street drummer? Didn't see him at the ballpark all last season. That's interesting. He's a friend of the pod. That's something I didn't notice. But maybe, I don't know. At the end of the 2023 season, he was playing inside. He had a great relationship with the Mariners, and some a bit earlier in the season. I don't know. He also has a musical career that's been going on. So I think this was a side thing. And in fact, when we go to this quick 1 minute break, here we go. Let's pull up when he was on the show. If I find my cord, we'll do our favorite thing to do when CJ's on here. Mariners fans losing it, where we go on social media and check these things out. If not, we'll have to put that on the next episode. Anyways, we'll be back in 1 minute. What's your go-to if we just had a big walk-off victory? Everybody's coming out of the stadium charged up. What's your go-to?
So I reel them in with some Michael Jackson, and then for Michael Jackson, I get them dancing with each other with Dance With Somebody. And then, we just keep the party going for a little bit. And then I got to throw in that Don't Stop Believing, just so the fans know, win, lose, or draw, we still support the Mariners. You know what I mean? That always gets them riled up. And then I take it to some more dancing. And then I sometimes have to stop because they won't stop dancing. So I'm like, all right, this is the last song. They're like, no.
Well, everybody, you are in luck, or you are in store for some more pain from us. I did find the power cord. You were listening to me plug it in.
You got the power.
I got the power. So one of our favorite things to do on here is read comments. Anything that is, you can find anything that is positive, and the Mariners fans will turn it into a negative. What's a positive thing that Will Williamson play? Okay.
Zero chance Polanco makes that play.
That is on what, Mariners Twitter?
Ryan Divish. Yeah.
Ryan Divish. So on Ryan Divish's page, they got a video of Williamson making a nice play. Instead of talking about how great the play is, what is the comment we got there, CJ?
We got JR, Metallica 1982. Zero chance Polanco makes that play. He also can't bunt or steal a base. Polanco sucks.
And who is this? Who wrote this?
Metallica 1982.
There you go. Again, let's look up right here. Cal Raleigh. Could somebody say something? Let's see. See if it passes the test. We have Cal Raleigh being named the 2025 Men's Sportsman of the Year. Wow. This was just posted by the Mariners. Too bad he's going to be gone. The Mariners will never sign this guy. The Mariners will never sign this guy. It doesn't matter who is his agent. Extend him or he'll treat us like Mike Piazza. I don't understand what that is. Pay him. I guess love Cal, but it should have been Spoon, Big Cat, or JSN. There's nobody else in Seattle sport. Is there anybody else in Seattle sports that should have been the Seattle Men's Sports Star of the Year?
Can't think of. Yeah, between Cal and Julio. But no, just Cal.
Cal.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's got a platinum glove.
There's a funny one here from the Pitching Ninja.
Yeah.
Bryce Miller throwing a filthy 84 mile an hour knuckle curve.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got a comment from old Cheddar Bob.
Cheddar Bob.
It's like, if you think that's nasty, my curveball comes in at around 68 miles an hour.
That's a good one. Let's pull up something. Let's go to the Instagram.
Even Brian Moo comment. He's
Okay.
like, he comes off, kind of like an idiot, but he's really smart.
Oh, God. Let's see. Spring train. Let's just see. Opening week. Trident trauma. The Mariners really looked at FanFest, a beloved event that with actual players, said, let's replace it with the gobbledygook version featuring Jay Buhner and some of the guys you've never heard of. Instead of fans getting a real chance to interact with the team, they're offering a glorified stadium tour while the actual roster is in Arizona. So we're talking about the opening week at T-Mobile Park. It's the most blubber, most unimaginable. Charge fans $10 to warm up for a season where the front office has barely spent any money to improve the team. Throw in a bullpen session and a clubhouse tour, and they expect people to be thrilled, as if this just isn't FanFest doohickey kickoff. Meanwhile, the teams that actually care about their fans are putting on real preseason events with stars. But in Seattle, fans get a fartlek of excitement before being reminded that ownership biggest priority is keeping costs low. Enjoy the dingleberry of an event, Mariners fans, because it's probably the most effort the franchise will put into a fan engagement all year. Another comment. I should share this for the YouTubers. Hold on. Present, share screen, talking out loud, Instagram. Here we go. Here's another one. If you're gonna water down FanFest, at least make it free to the season ticket holders. You already got our support. Here's can I become the third baseman? Here we go. Rob Reed underscore Prib. I've never been more pissed than when I saw the back of John Stanton's head on King 5's news today. They called this, somebody else called wait, Gets dot his dot Kaki Kushi called it the Timo Fest. Another person said, stop holding events in December that require, this is not December. So I don't know what this guy's talking about. Here we go. No thanks. Sell the team. Basically, FanFest, question mark. This crap, bring on the FanFest. Somebody else tagged somebody else. Mandy Luttrell tagged her friend Ashley Marks and says, we should take the boys. Okay, so one person likes that. Well, anyways, that's our sped up version tonight because we have some power issues and things like that down here. But yeah, spring training's been a lot of fun. Also, it's a well, I don't even know if our thing has our and we got any of that. So we're probably going to just wrap up this episode. Like you said, it's spring training. We're working out some kinks. Happy to be here in Scottsdale. Got some fun stuff happening. We got Mariners PA announcer coming on very soon. Our good friend Tom Hutler. I'm going to go over to the YouTube right now to see if this is still even a thing. I mean, as far as our podcast going right now, might have to do a little bit of pickup. It's on. Okay, hopefully they got all of that. Well, it's in a very small box. I don't understand what's going on here. Anyways, with that being said, we will talk to you very soon. I'm gonna have to cut this episode short. We're gonna have to do a lot of editing for this fucking podcast, for the podcast version. All right, we'll talk to you and we'll get to the rest of. I know we do the questions and answers at the end of this. Anyways, we're signing off. Charge. I think I can at least play a little bit of music on the way out, so it makes us feel a little bit better about the sloppiness here.